Hi, I'm Leanne Cannon, and this is Backstory on Business. Stick around and see who I'm going to be interviewing today.
Welcome to this episode of Backstory on Business with your host, Leanne Cannon.
Hello, friends. I'm Leanne Cannon, and this is Backstory on Business. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm delighted to introduce you to Don Greenleaf with Union Home Mortgage. He's a home mortgage consultant that adds a personal touch when you need it. Don, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So how long have you been in the mortgage business?
I've been a loan officer for the last 33, 34 years, something like that.
You probably know what you're doing by now then.
I better.
Well, good. How did you get started?
I got started, like I said, many years ago. How I got started was a friend of mine I saw, Russ Iona, who's been in the business for years. I saw him, he was working at Waterfield at the time, and I talked about maybe changing jobs or getting a position. He said, we're hiring right now, come on in and talk to our manager, Jerry Wendell. So I went in and talked to him, and he said, I'd love to hire you, but we just hired somebody. So I'm thinking, great, typical luck. So I went home, and on my way home I started thinking about it. I went back the next day, and I didn't have an appointment, just walked in and said, can I talk to Jerry? And went in and I said, I know you don't have a position open right now, but I have a funny feeling this position is what I want to do. And I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll work for 2 months. You don't pay me. If I work out, you hire me. If I don't work out, you let me go.
Oh, that's an interesting story.
He said, let's go to lunch. So and he hired me.
And the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be darned. So what do you like most about what you do?
The contact with people, getting to work with, whether it's first-time home buyers or people buying their second or third house, getting the opportunity to meet them, number one, to be able to work with them throughout the process. I like to have the personal touch with it a little bit more than you can go online now. You can go all kinds of ways you can get financing. But when you're buying a house, I think it's too important not to have that personal touch where you meet with the person. I like to meet with my people after I get some basic information from them. And then I meet with them so I can introduce myself and they can meet me and we feel a little more at ease.
Yes.
Familiar. And then I collect information at that time, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure. But that way gives me a chance to get their information to get them approved.
And when you say that, what does it take for one to get approved for a house today?
What I usually do with that is when I talk to you on the phone, I'll get enough information. It's like an application. And I'll get where you live, where you work, your name, your date of birth, and all that information, your hourly rate or salary, your debts. And then I'd like to, at that point, run a preliminary credit report. Mm-hmm. Because that allows me to get enough information to say what you're qualified for or put you in different programs that you might best fit your needs. And when I do that, a lot of times people say, well, I only have one bill. You check their credit and they have 10 bills. They forgot about their student loans because they're not paying on them. They forgot about certain things.
Well, how much of a down payment do people need then in order to buy a house today?
Depends on the type of loan you're going with. Depending on FHA, you can go 3.5% down. And the nice thing about that is the guidelines are with FHA. It used to be FHA and conventional, and that was about it. Conventional was like 10 to 20% down. FHA was like 3.5% down. Now they have, and they've had out for quite a while, first-time home buyers program, mm-hmm. which you can put as little as 1% down.
Okay.
The problem with that, though, Leanne, is the closing costs are anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 higher with the first-time home buyers. The interest rate is also higher.
Okay. Well, that's important information for people to know.
Yes, yeah, because they go into it thinking it's a normal
right.
situation. They may not have enough money to qualify. Their credit scores may not be high enough for them because the credit score is a little bit higher.
Well, what type of credit score does someone need?
Well, for a normal FHA loan or conventional, we can go as low as 600 on your FICO.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Which it used to be 620. They reduced it to 600. But that being said, you can have a 660 credit score, 680 credit score, and still have issues with your credit. that you may not get when we talked about credit. Like if you go to Credit Karma, a lot of people go to Credit Karma and they say, I don't have any collections, I don't have anything. That's not always updated. So to get something like
might
myself,
not even be accurate.
right, exactly. Could be 2 or 3 months behind or 6 months behind. So the information on there may be correct, it may not be.
I see.
So it could have a difference of anywhere from 20 to 30 points difference in your credit score.
Well, that's huge. How long does the process take, would you say, to purchase a home?
The process, depending on how you do it, realtors nowadays usually write the contract for 30 to 45 days, depending. Because there's so many different factors involved. What I like to do, I think that kind of separates a little bit from a lot of places, is when I meet with, say, if you're a potential buyer. Like I said, I'll take information down over the phone. Then I meet with you. At that time, I try to collect your couple pay stubs, your last 2 years W-2s and tax returns, and a bank statement. The problem with that is most people, I shouldn't say most people, some people, even after they purchase a house, you've asked for that stuff 3 or 4 times, they give you page 1 of page 5.
Oh my, really?
So they don't give you the qualified information. If I get that information up front, which is nice.
It shortens the whole process.
It shortens the whole process. I can send a loan to an underwriter. The underwriter at that point looks at it. So what it does for the buyer is when they do find that particular house, they're already approved. The only thing you need to do is get the appraisal done. So it takes away a little bit of the anxiety, the tension,
Sure.
the paperwork that they need to get. They may need to still get me a current pay stub if it's been a few months.
Okay. Yeah.
But from that standpoint, 90% of the work is done, which you have enough going on when you're buying a house. You don't need an added frustration of the paperwork. So that way, an underwriter has reviewed it. We send it back to that same underwriter with the appraisal, and then you're fully approved. So that could shorten the length of time down to 15 to 20 days. Some people cannot close early because they're buying a house that somebody else's has to sell to get that one done.
Right.
But if it's the ideal situation, they can move right in. We could close early, which makes everybody happy.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to be here with us, because this is a perfect example of someone out here doing business that a lot of people don't even know about.
True.
And like you mentioned, a lot of mortgage consultants will have you do stuff online or talk with different people every time you call in, and you have that personal touch.
True.
They know that they're going to be talking with you. Well, now they know about you. And they didn't a minute ago. So how would they get a hold of you, Don?
The best way to get a hold of me, on my business card, is my cell number.
Okay.
I do have an office number, but I don't use it because many times...
Well, you're on the road a lot.
I'm on the road a lot, number one. But many times realtors do a lot of their business on the weekends or in the evenings. And I'm always available. I have agents, real estate agents, that'll call me on a Sunday and say, is it okay to call you Sunday? If you're working, then I'm obligated to do the same, I think.
Right. Well, what is your number?
330-697-1389.
Okay. And is there an email address that you'd like people to have?
It's D Greenleaf, my last name, at unionhomemortgage.com.
Okay. So they can get a hold of you.
Anytime.
All right. Listen, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here. It was
My
nice
pleasure.
to have you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Backstory on Business.
Thank you for watching Backstory on Business. Want to recommend a business for us to highlight? Contact Karen Leonard using the information listed on the screen.